Eventually everyone visits the coroner, but City Coroner Dr. Leon Uraski isn't content with waiting for you to die. He's coming for you now. When the back of your movie's that short, that's not a good sign.
I played video games in a drunken haze. I was 17 years young.
So the movie starts off at a strip club with tits everywhere. I'm okay with this. There's no plot, no rhyme, no reason, just 100% grade A boner material. I mean, it is a strip club, so like, maybe it's grade C boner material. It's definitely not grade A. It's a bunch of shady looking dudes are staring down the women, and I don't know if they're bad guys and part of the plot, or if they're just shady looking dudes you'd expect to see at a strip club. One of the shady looking dudes gets up for an unknown reason, and we abruptly cut to outside where Holly, one of the strippers, is getting off of work.
It's a nice show tonight, Holly.
Thanks, Bill. That's sweet of you.
She's followed by one of the weirdos from earlier. False alarms are a dime a dozen in these kind of movies.
I gotta go.
I'd like to do
No!
It's kind of a cool title screen. I mean, that was a hell of a weird lead up to it, honestly, but it looks alright. The credits eventually roll over top of some generic city skyline shots before we're shown a bunch of bizarre scenes with no real context, so it must be scary. Kurt? Newspaper articles flash, blood spills, people scream, doors are shown with who knows what behind them. Totally reminds me of Nightmare on Elm Street 6.
Free me, you idiot! I'm your fucking memory!
So Crazy Chick is having a bunch of flashbacks to some sort of struggle. Is this cool? I think this might be cool. I mean, damn, this movie's wasted no time in giving me a taste of what's to come. I'm giving you a point, movie.
Here's Nadine, Jack, a Wim, Felter, and Ace the Knife. Criminy.
Oh god, boring story. I'm taking the point back. Look, I don't really know what's going on here. I don't care what's going on here, and you probably don't care what's going on here, do you?
Couldn't care less what happened to them.
Let me give you an example of what I'm pretty sure you don't care about.
You doing anything fun this weekend?
Well, I thought I'd go to the zoo and adopt a turtle and then maybe take in a homeless family.
Get out of here.
See? Apparently Emma, I think is her name, is going on vacation for a while, and she's dictating things that need to be done in her absence. All the while, some unknown dude is snapping pictures of her. Before she can leave, however, she finds a hooker she seems to know named Nadine crying in front of her car over some John she tried to pick up.
Nadine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Is that the chick from Liar Liar?
No.
They just talk about prostitution before some dude walks up.
We're not in court now, Flossman, so quit prosecuting me.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, okay, he's a public defender, and apparently Emma's a lawyer, and they both work together. Alright.
So?
Don't you ever get tired of rolling around in the gutter defending all this scum, or do you feel at home?
Oh, okay, Nadine's one of her clients. She just represented her. I got you.
Well, unless you want to be disbarred, your insinuations about my character in court are entirely inappropriate.
They just bigger for a bit back and forth. I mean, it's not that interesting. The acting's pretty good, though, surprisingly.
I agree.
Pacing is decent. It's kinda okay. I'm surprised.
I will run you over.
I will have you disbarred.
I'd like to see you try.
She even bashes him with the door like the no-shit-taking badass chick she is. Now, we cut to two cops at a crime scene, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but this scene, like, it didn't get a laugh out of me, but the way it's framed, the way they acted in it, just watch it, I don't know.
You know, you are a real class act, you know that?
What? Yeah, I was hungry.
Oh, you picked something up on the way?
She's already dead.
Amazing. Later we find Nadine tricking it up. She's approached by a car and then more creepy shots.
Want a date? I'll show you a good time.
Did they just time-lapse the whole murder? Really? And just like that, we cut to Emma sleeping with some dude, which I'm just gonna skip right on through since I've told you 1,000 times how much I hate sex scenes in most movies. And in the beginning, I'm like, oh, I love tits. Now, I love tits and all that, yeah, but sex scenes themselves are fucking pointless. They rarely, if ever, add anything to the plots. And honestly, in this case, I'm not saying that as I normally do. You know how my bit goes. It's 100% true in this case, and you can see it yourself because the very next scene is them getting dressed and he leaves for work. Was that scene even important to the plot? No. After her shower, which we could have just started with, Emma discovers the news about Nadine when reading the paper. She heads to the library to start doing some research on the victims. It's cut with more of those creepy flashback type scenes, which at this point just might be overstaying their welcome. Tone it down, movie. We find our unknown photographer going over the pictures he has taken of all these women, and right after, we find Emma jogging at the safest hour possible. He shot a fucking blow dart at her. What is this, Jungle to Jungle? Ah, man-ass! Unnecessary!
What a great entrance! Now that's the way to kick off a show. Smile for the camera. Come on, Emma.
What the fuck is this? Look at this weirdo!
How about a song to cheer you up? Oh, come on! Smile for the camera.
I was not prepared for this level of absurdity.
Like them, I'll grant you one wish. But right now, I have some phone calls to make.
So Naked Genie Man leaves her to struggle, and like a champ, she bites her own wrist, drawing blood to lubricate the straps and allow her to free her hands. I'm telling you, this part of the movie doesn't fuck around. And then other parts of this movie have very strange timing and cut decisions. Stabbing the random-ass football player who came downstairs, she escapes. Okay, so apparently Naked Genie Man was the football player, even though he said he was going to make some calls. Not, I'm going to put on this football uniform. I don't know. Like something out of People Under the Stairs, he chases her through the walls or the halls or wherever the fuck they are, but it's not nearly as cool as People Under the Stairs. And he just chants her name over and over and over. He's not even that creepy. He just looks like some weird-ass John Larroquette clone. Oh my god, did you see that? Did you really fucking see that coming? He just bonked her over the head like a goddamn cartoon character. Did Barton just come outside? Later, when she awakes, we find her screaming in agony as Weirdo is sewing up her wounds, I think. And he's got a first aid table in his lap. So we get a bunch of loony talk that I don't really understand the point of, and as usual, none of it matters. She eventually psychs him out by pretending to pass out from the pain, and then she kicks his ass. Chick takes no shit. A chase ensues, but surprisingly she manages to just make it outside and into the headlights of an approaching car. She awakens in the hospital, unsure of her whereabouts, and the next morning she's talking with our two bumbling officers from earlier. They take her back out to where she was found when she was hit by the car to see if she can recognize maybe the house that she came from. She not only recognizes the house, but the two officers go so far as to knock on the door, and they all end up inside where she's accusing him and he's acting innocent, and apparently he's some well-known figure in the community.
He's the coroner.
There it is! There it is!
I love how these two officers refuse to take anything she says as remotely true. Eventually, they just leave as they have nothing to prove her story, but not wanting to succumb to defeat, she goes so far as to involve Flossman, I think was his name, the other lawyer at work whom she isn't too fond of, but in her own words,
Can you afford the chance to give up on snagging a serial killer?
What?
How did I get in this condition?
Emma, I don't...
Flossman. He kills suicide survivors. He sees himself as some kind of demigod whose job it is to take back those who survived.
whoa, that got deep really fast. Okay, apparently I wasn't paying enough attention to this movie. So later, she gets up to answer the door in the middle of the night. Like, I'm sure that's a smart decision.
Hello, Emma.
Yep. Fucking dream. Why? Why didn't you just started with this scene? It was a complete waste. So it turns out to just be your other friend from work, whose name I never caught, and wow, you do not need a gun. Now by this point, she starts to doubt her own sanity, and hell, who could blame her? We cut to the strip club where Dr. Leon is being escorted through by the club owner from earlier. He heads into a room alone momentarily before hiding behind some plants when two others bust up into the room for a terrible striptease and banging session. At this point, the movie's just turning into a bad porn. So spying on the two, the coroner hones in on the one detail we know he would. Not the tits, but the wound on her wrist. To add insult to injury, he witnesses her being the victim of a drive-by hump, dump, and firing. That's a triple whammy.
Don't bother coming in tomorrow.
What about me?
He soon moves in for the kill. Good joke, bad joke.
Don't be afraid of me.
Now back to Emma. She's on the phone with her friend, continuing to pad out the movie's runtime and letting us know that she's gonna get him. Now dressed in all black, she gets out of the car and... Has this bitch got a bomb? When did she turn into special forces? It really was a bomb. Where did she get a bomb? So Leon surprises her, which is no fucking surprise.
I guess we're gonna have to add...
Put 'em up. Put 'em up.
He just goes on a rampage, tearing the room up before she pulls a gun out and throws off the lamest one-liner you could possibly deliver.
Chill out!
Now, forcing him out to the basement, she finds her bomb has basically failed to penetrate the reinforced concrete, and no, you dumb bitch, don't do that. Oh, God damn it. So we're back in a similar situation. Emma's trapped, the coroner is in control, and in a surprise turn of events, he calls the police on her.
Under arrest?
Yeah.
You gotta admire this sociopathic asshole. She finds herself across the desk once again from Flossman, only this time in a prison uniform, but apparently the doctor isn't wanting to press charges. Instead, the officers start laying out case after case against her, claiming she has a history of mental instability as well as a distaste specifically for coroners.
You are lying.
They paint her into a pretty small corner. Ha. In the next few scenes, I'm not really sure what the hell's going on. Is this a flashback? Chick on a bed, chick drinking, chick throwing papers in a box, dragging a trunk, power tools, chains, ladders. I don't understand. Now in the next scene, the dumbass coroner falls for the same shit Emma's dumbass fell for from earlier.
Hello, sir.
Hello, me.
Alright, so she tasered him, wrapped him up in carpet, stole a box of his VHS for evidence, and now she's driving him to... not the police station? Oh shit, is she a badass now? I mean, she's already a badass, but is she like a badass now?
Do you know what kendo is?
She is a badass. Oh, that's a bad spot to get cut in. She gives a pretty bitchin' villain speech, too, although it's difficult to call her a villain considering the circumstances.
I do the major damage right away. I give you no illusions that if you cooperate, maybe you'll live.
So leaving him to suffer overnight, she comes back the next morning to throw some darts tipped with poison at him, but when he dodges, she just decides quickly to make things easy on herself.
Ah, you fucking bitch!
Now don't get nasty.
Gosh!
I guess taking breaks in between torturing the coroner, Emma is now back in her bedroom punching air, and George, that goofy curly-haired bastard from earlier, appears from behind a door, professing his love for her.
No, not now!
Emma, come on! Emma, I love you!
Great timing, George. He discovers what she's hiding and the mind games continue.
Emma.
He's a killer, George.
Emma, could you please help me?
Man, George is about to ruin the whole fucking movie, I swear. He cuffs Emma up, releases the coroner, and then the obvious happens.
George, he'll kill you!
Emma, would you take a look at this guy? He couldn't hurt anybody right now. Isn't it so nice to have it back to just me and you?
Oh, these one-liners suck.
Me and you.
So happy to be there.
We have some unfinished business to attend to.
No, Leon. You're finished!
God, they all suck.
Either way, I win.
So she takes his ass out in a pretty satisfying manner, honestly, and rescues George, who better be kissing her ass if you ask me. Well, that was a convenient and typical plot device you'd find in these kind of movies. You know those fumes would already be combustible by this point, right? Emma torches the place, and she and George escape over more flashbacks and creepy footage. Fucking eyeball shots. And that's it. We end with no real resolution, if you ask me. I don't know, maybe this movie requires a second viewing or something. Maybe there's some things I missed in it. But overall, this is fairly enjoyable for the level of absurdity that it brings. I mean, the acting in it is bad, but it's not as bad as Witch House. It's certainly not as bad as, you know, Drive-In Massacre or any of those other weird-ass movies I've been doing. This had decently cast people who all took their roles seriously, and I don't know, the story was just a little scatterbrained, you know? And a lot of it was just a fluff piece to show you half-clad women. I mean, aren't all these movies supposed to be that way anyway? So it's not fair for me to criticize it on that front. But I guess, like, when I'm looking for a horror movie, you know, it was a different time back then. Those kind of ideas were part of horror movies back then, but not so much anymore to me. Horror movies are about horror, about scary things or violent things, or, you know what I'm trying to say, right? It's not so much about the nudity anymore. Nudity's a dime a dozen. You can find tits, you can find anything you want on the internet. So, you know, you can't change what's on these tapes, and that's fine. It's just I'm still always going to complain a little bit about unnecessary sex scenes in movies. Overall, though, I actually recommend this. I don't even know if this is on DVD or Blu-ray or anything like that. I haven't done any research otherwise. But it's got like I think it's got like a 6 on IMDb when I did look this up. And I kind of agree with that. It's a must-watch film. And I've said that about a few of these, but this is the one that I truly mean it on. Like, if you had to watch The Coroner, or you had to watch Witch House, or you had to watch Drive-In Massacre, like, I'd go with this one. You gotta go with this one just to see the level of absurdity. So, you know, before I end up giving away all my material for a real thoughts on this, I'm gonna end it with that. Pretty good movie. Appreciate you guys watching.